Hey guys, Igor here once again with another video. Today we're going to be covering an app that I've already previously showcased on this channel. It's called Animation by Doing. And I showed you guys how to draw frame by frame. But the app also contains this interesting mode called composition. So we're going to get into that today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it can do, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So right off the bat, I want to showcase what the app is capable of doing. Here we have a couple of PNG files that I drew in Procreate, so not in Animation by Doing. And I ended up using composition mode to compile this video. It's only 17 seconds long, but this is what it looks like with a couple images strung together. The planet, as you can see, warps into view. You have a little bit of time to explain in the video what is going to happen. And then the planet will suddenly zoom in. The quality changes to show a little bit more detail, and then you see this triangular ship fly into view, and that's it. So we can talk a little bit about what's happening there, but before we do that, let's jump into animation. Here's what the icon looks like. We'll press on that, and here it showcases all of the different projects that I've previously worked on. At the very top of the screen, you can select Drawing, which shows your frame-by-frame canvases, or the composition canvases by hitting the comps. This is what the animation looks like, the one that I just showed you. Pulling up the timeline on the bottom, you can see this first highlighted timeline has the planet on it. If I scroll through, you can tell that where the different keyframes are, and between the keyframes how the object shifts in size. Now you see the object zoom in here, and just as the object reaches a certain point, I have a different image that I drew within Procreate that's a more detailed version of that zoomed in part. So as you can see, it replaces it. And as that image slightly pans inward, we have the ship appearing outside of the canvas and then flying into view. So that's how I created this composition. Let's quickly go over how you can create your own, and I'll try to cut out as much extra stuff so that we just have the bare essentials, so you get an idea for what this app is capable of and whether you want to learn how to do it or you want to try it out for yourself. We begin creating our composition animation by drawing the images that we want to use within the animation. So open up Procreate or whatever app that supports being able to export in PNG, and click the little plus sign to start a new canvas. Now keep in mind, the animation canvas itself will be 1920 by 1080, but if you want to create, say, a little fish within the scene, you should be definitely using a much smaller file. Just for the sake of example, let's do a 500 by 500 sized file, and we'll create it. So within this file, go ahead and draw whatever it is you want animated. I'm going to draw a fish. Okay, so here we have our fish, but we're not exactly done yet. If you pop open the Layers tab, as you can see, the background, once disabled, only the line art is left. Now in order to animate this fish, if we ever want to have it swim in front of an object, we don't want this empty space in the middle of the fish to be seen through. So you're going to want to create a new layer, drag it underneath the line art, use whatever color you'd like. In this case, I guess I can use something a little bit off-white. You can go ahead and grab the selection tool and quickly draw around your fish. Or you can just color it in by hand. whatever it is you're comfortable with. This will just save a little bit of time. Click the double layers tab, hit fill. We're not going to fill it perfectly. It's okay if some of the lines on top of the head are out of order like that. I guess I can just, what's a couple of seconds? But that's it. I'm not going to worry about the rest. Okay, so here we have our fish. I guess if we really wanted to, we can add a little bit of values just to make it more fun looking. Okay, so here we have our fish. And as I mentioned before, the background, once it's disabled, the fish is basically all that's going to be exported, right? All the empty space that you see on this canvas will still be a part of the image, but it will be transparent. That's why size of the canvas is pretty important here. So we're going to want to merge our two layers together. Again, you want to just keep it all nice and clean. So the next step here is to export this file. We're going to hit the little wrench icon up top, share artwork, and select PNG. Save it to whatever destination you'd like. I'm going to save it to the camera roll. The export was successful. Go back into the gallery. This time, we're going to create the background. Hit the plus sign. Now for the background, you're going to want to use a size that fills the entire background in at a minimum, correct? Since the ratio in our animation is 16:9, we're going to use the 1920 by 1080 to draw our background in. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the background. We're not animating it. So it'll be one still painting. Alright, this will be the simple background that we're going to use just to fill something in. Again, we go to the tool wrench under the Share tab, hit Share Artwork, and export it as a PNG. Save the image. Once your export is successful, we're going to head back into the Animation app. So back in the Animation app, we're going to want to create a new composition. So hit the little plus sign, select New Composition. Here you see that the ratio is not exactly as we want it. So hitting the little info button up top, we can choose the different aspect ratios and select 16:9. This gives us the correct resolution. And now we can import our background, going into our photo reel and choosing the background. As you can see, it perfectly matches the resolution and we don't have to do any tweaks. Now if we open up the timeline on the bottom, you can grab the keyframe and drag it for as long as you would like this background to show. The animation so far is 7 seconds long, according to the timeline. But we still don't have our fish, so let's import that in next. Again, hitting the little camera icon, we're going to go ahead and select our fish. As you can see, the aspect ratio of the fish is different because we used a different canvas size. Let's go ahead and move that over here. It's going to swim through the scene. And now you can see the fish icon, the fish image, is added to the timeline as a separate thing that you can manipulate. So once again, we have the fish selected. We're going to go over to the final keyframe and we're going to click and drag that keyframe until it matches up with the background timeline. Now the fish will not be animated currently because the first keyframe and the last keyframe have the fish in exactly the same position. So slide over to the final keyframe. Here I can do this two ways. I can click on the fish with one finger and drag across where I want the end position to be, or I can click on the green thing and actually draw the in-between line between those 2 points. As you can see, it smoothed itself out a little bit. And now, if we hit play, a very, very cheesy animation plays, but you can see that it was very easy to make. If I wanted, I could make a bubble drawing and have bubbles come out of the fish as it swims by. I could even have the fin be separate, a separate part of the body. And that's it. That's as simple as it is to create these animations. You can have in-betweens. Now, it's not easy adding an in-between, but let's say we go to the 3.5 minute mark. I create a new keyframe. Let's say we want the fish to initially swim up faster. I can grab this keyframe and I can move it over to, say, the 2-second mark. Whatever keyframe point I leave this on, the fish arrives to that halfway mark that much faster. So now, if I play the video, the fish will swim faster. Once it hits that middle keyframe, it's going to slow down. So here are a couple of other examples that I've done using this application. Here's a little bunny that I drew. If we hit the play button, as you can see, his arms are separate images. His ears are also separate images of the same exact drawing. So all I did was swap the drawing for different versions of it, where the ear slowly folds over. And a similar thing with the hands. The hand that's waving, it's about 3 different drawings. The eyes blinking is, I think, a separate piece of the bunny. We could even see here instead of me guessing. So you see all these little short versions are just different drawings put together to try and make, a somewhat smooth animation. Here's one that I did as a quick example. You have a flower waving back and forth. Obviously nothing amazing, but it's just enough to hopefully show you guys that this thing is capable of some pretty awesome stuff. And I just thought I would share with you guys because I think that you would create some awesome things too. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I think that'll be it for today, but I hope you learned something. Composition drawing is great for artists that are just used to working in something like Procreate, maybe even Photoshop. You don't have an Apple Pencil and you want to use drawings that you drew in Photoshop. Go ahead and transfer them over, the PNG files, into your tablet, and then go into Animate, pull those images. You can even pull images from online and animate those, some sort of actor cutout hopping around. I would say that's definitely a strong suit of composition animation. It doesn't take as much time as frame-by-frame animation. You don't have to worry about redrawing the same thing over and over and keeping proportions consistent and then coloring all those elements in. You can even do kind of a mix of both. You draw a couple of images of a character, and now you have the ability to animate the character running, jumping, all with composition. So that's why I thought it was worth showing you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. Maybe I can make more videos on this in the future if that's what you'd like to see. And until next time, stay beautiful.